world's on fire, not metaphorically. Well, also metaphorically, but just literally in several places. And your phone's going to tell you all about these fires before you even open your second eyelid. Seriously, you should move your phone as far away as possible from the bed. Put it in another room, put it in the hallway, put it in your neighbor's apartment. Your neighbor's probably already staring at it through the window. See, there's a war, there's another war, there's a political thing that's going on that's going to destroy everything. There's a celebrity who did something. There's a study that says coffee is killing you. There's another study that says coffee is saving you. There's a third study from the coffee industry that just wants you to forget about the first two. There's a comment section full of people who have decided today's the day that they're going to fix humanity, and the way they're going to do it is by arguing with strangers at 11 p.m. Every day, all of it before you've even decided you want to be alive today. And somewhere in the middle of all of this noise, you forget where your feet are or where your head is. If you're still lying in bed, wondering why you feel vaguely anxious before anything has even happened yet. You see, I went quiet on social media a few years ago, and it wasn't dramatic, no announcement, no taking a break from my mental health type of post. You know those posts that get more engagement than anything that you would ever say that's worth saying? I just stopped. I had nothing to perform, so I didn't. And I realized something useful. A lot of people that I thought mattered in my life weren't in my life. They were just in my content. Two very different addresses. Like the difference between someone who lives with you and someone who follows you on Zillow. They knew my updates, but they weren't aware of my absence. The people who reached out, the ones who noticed the silence and checked in on person instead of the platform, that was my actual list. And that list was embarrassingly small, but it was genuinely priceless. And I'm guilty of the same thing. I avoid some friends because calling them drains me. Not because they're bad people, just because some people turn a 10-minute call into a 45-minute therapy session where I'm the therapist and nobody's paying me. I avoid others because I feel like I'm bothering them too. And often I avoid everyone because I don't feel good enough to lie convincingly when they ask, how you doing? And I know if I open my mouth, something true is going to come out and then we're both stuck. So I say nothing and I don't call. I wait for a better moment. I'll reach out when I'm doing great, when I have good news, when I'm the version of myself worth updating people on. That moment never comes though. So we disappear exactly when we most need to be found. We ghost our microverse at the moment it could actually do something, which is insane if you think about it. We're like people who refuse to go to the hospital until we feel better. That's the microverse, not the audience, not the following, not the network, the handful of people for whom you are specifically irreplaceable to them. Not a creator to them, you're not a brand to them, you're not even a guy they follow. You're just you. You're the slightly chaotic, occasionally annoying, and hard to explain version of you that they've chosen to keep around anyways. See, we weren't built for the scale that we're living at. Our brains were evolved for a village, 150 people, give or take. Faces you knew, names you remembered, lives you were actually tangled up in, beef you actually had to resolve, because you couldn't just unfollow someone and never see them again. If their goat ate your crops, you had to work it out. And now we're expected to have fully formed opinions about everything happening everywhere to everyone all at once. And we need it delivered hot and ready within minutes of the thing occurring. Or we're complicit. Modern citizenship apparently means having strong opinions about places you've never been, involving people you've never met, based on clips edited by someone whose username is AnimalBalls47. And we wonder why we feel scattered, while we watch footage of something genuinely horrifying and feel nothing 20 minutes later, because 14 other things have already happened. 14 other things have already replaced it. Our capacity for outrage has been so thoroughly exploited that it's just stopped working. Outrage used to be a survival response. Now it's content. We've turned emotional distress into background music. We're emotionally overdrawn. The account is empty. Sorry, insufficient funds. Please try being upset about something smaller. It's not that you're broken, it's that you're running software designed for a village on hardware that's being asked to process the entire world. The space between those two things is where the overwhelm lives. And it's a very crowded place. We all want villages. We just no longer know how to be villagers. We want the warmth and the belonging of the people who show up. But we've forgotten what that actually requires, because what it requires is actual inconvenience. And we've been aggressively sold the idea that inconvenience is a design flaw. Being a villager is helping someone move even though your whole Saturday disappears. And there, just a few boxes turns out to be the entire contents of the 3-bedroom apartment, including a sectional sofa they definitely should have mentioned. Being a villager is driving a friend to the airport at 5 a.m. because they booked a 7 a.m. flight like a lunatic, and now it's your problem too. Being a villager is answering the phone when you were genuinely finally one episode away from finishing the show. Yeah, Netflix really got us canceling plans with actual humans to spend time with fictional ones. It's nothing dramatic, it's just being available, which is the hardest thing to be in a world that has given us 17 ways to be technically reachable while being actually nowhere. The cost of community is inconvenience. That's why corporations keep selling us connections instead. Connection scales. Community requires someone helping you to move a couch. We live in a world designed to sell us the experience of community without making us pay that price. We follow each other, we like each other, we watch each other's stories, we feel connected without actually being connected. It's emotional fast food. It feels like something, but it doesn't actually feed you. Here's what I've noticed. Every time things have gotten genuinely hard in my life, not social media hard, not bad news cycle hard, actually hard, the people who showed up weren't the ones with the biggest presence in my world. They were the ones for who I mattered to them specifically. Yeah, I have a platform. I got a lot of followers at various points. But when things got difficult, you know who showed up? Not the algorithm, not the engagement, not the DMs from people who love my work. When my work was doing great and I wasn't doing great, those are two different things. And those are two different situations, and they require two different types of people. There's a difference between being known and being famous, between being liked and being loved, between having reach and having roots. Reach is how many people can see you. Roots are who comes when you call. Even deeper, who notices when you don't. You can have enormous reach and almost no roots. Plenty of people do. It looks impressive from the outside. That's most of modern life, honestly. Luxury apartments with anxiety in them. See, my microverse is specific. It's my friends, the ones who have seen me in versions I don't post about. It's my family, complicated like everyone's family. Mine is specifically South Asian complicated, which means the love is enormous and the communication is indirect. And someone is always slightly offended about something that happened in 2004. It's my puppy Boogie, who has no idea I have a platform and loves me with a consistency no algorithm has ever matched, as long as I feed her. The moment I'm 5 minutes late with her food, she looks at me like I personally betrayed her ancestors. She has no ancestors. She's a golden doodle, but the betrayal stands. It's the folks at the coffee shop who already know my order. It's the guy at the pet store who saves the good treats. It's the block we walk on every afternoon where I greet the doorman. It's the places where Boogie has her stores that gives her treats and I nod to the people I don't know but I see too often to ignore. These are the people I've never spoken to, but we made eye contact maybe 300 times. At this point, it would be weird to introduce ourselves. So we're committed to a nod. And that nod is our whole relationship and it works. Honestly, some of my healthiest relationships are just mutual eye contact and zero expectations. That's a world. Nobody's monetizing it. Nobody's clipping it into reels, and it doesn't scale. But it's real. And it's where I actually live. And I think I undervalued it for a long time because I didn't have numbers attached to it. Being present is simple to grasp and nearly impossible to do. It means your phone stays in your pocket when you're with someone who matters. Or your phone stays in your pocket when you're waiting for an elevator. Instead of doing the one thing that we always do, which is look at our phone to avoid eye contact with the one stranger for 30 seconds, like eye contact would somehow kill us. It means you're actually in the conversation instead of composing your caption about it or waiting for your turn to talk, which isn't listening, it's just cueing. It means when Boogie puts her head on your leg, you stop and feel that instead of half feeling it while you're scrolling, which is, by the way, one of the few times something is asking nothing from you except to be there. And we can't even manage that. It means where your feet are is where you actually are. Our bodies become waiting rooms for our attention, and we're the worst waiting rooms. Uncomfortable chairs, bad lighting, the magazines are 6 months old. Nobody's happy to be there. The cost of presence is the thing you're not doing instead. And that's harder than it sounds because we've been trained out of it. One eye on the feed, one hand on the notification, half your attention in a conversation that isn't happening yet, while scanning the room for something more interesting than the thing right in front of you. We've all been emotionally polyamorous with our attention spans. We're physically present and mentally elsewhere so often that full presence starts to feel strange, like you're missing something. You're not missing something, you're just here. That antsy feeling is just your nervous system panicking because nothing is stimulating it, and it's forgotten that nothing is actually fine. I'm not saying ignore the world. The big things matter. What's happening out there is real, and sometimes it needs your attention, and sometimes it needs your voice. But there's something different between being informed and being marinated. You can know what's happening without living inside the feed. You can care about the world and still come home to 12 people who would notice if you disappeared. Those things aren't in competition. Your phone can show you a genocide and a guy making ramen in the same 3-second scroll. And your brain has no idea what to do with that. And neither does mine. The human brain isn't built for infinite tragedy. Eventually, everything emotionally costs the same as a video of a raccoon stealing cat food. The problem is we've stopped treating them as separate. The phone blurs the line until nothing has weight because everything has weight, and it all arrives at the same volume. The world getting louder might not be the problem. It might be the signal. Look down. Look around. Notice who's actually here. Because when things get genuinely hard, the big world won't hold you. It can't. It doesn't know you specifically. It doesn't know what you're like when you're scared or what you need when you're tired or that specific kind of silence that helps you versus the kind that makes you feel worse. Only your small world knows that. Only the microverse shows up. And the smallest world of all is the one inside of you. So we do sometimes check in on our friends and we make time for them. And we give them patience and grace and the benefit of the doubt. And most of us treat ourselves like a malfunctioning appliance we've been meaning to get looked at. And I'm not talking about buy a candle and journal about it. I'm not asking you to become a wellness influencer. I'm asking something much simpler and somehow much harder. Ask yourself how you're actually doing and wait for a real answer. The answer isn't I'm fine. Not the keep busy answer. The actual answer, the one that lives below the one you give people at parties. Learn who you are the way you'd learn about a best friend. Not just cataloging your flaws, which most of us could do for hours. Detailed list, alphabetized, cross-reference. But knowing your weird habits. What you're like when you're tired. What makes you light up. What kind of quiet you need and when. What you actually want versus what you've been told to want. Most people couldn't answer these questions for themselves. And that matters. Because if you don't have a relationship with yourself, the outside world gets to decide who you are. The algorithm gets to tell you what you want. Capitalism used to wait for our desires. Now it manufactures them in advance and then ships them overnight. The news tells us what to be afraid of. The feed tells us what to care about. And we'll follow all of it because there's nothing solid on the inside to push back. The microverse starts inwards. You are the first villager. And honestly, that's awkward because most of us would never tolerate another person speaking to us the way we speak to ourselves. And you deserve the same presence you keep trying to offer everyone else. The village didn't disappear. We just stopped calling it that. It got smaller and we called it a downgrade instead of understanding it was always the right size. We want scale, but we only got lonelier at scale. And now we're confused. Your world is the 3 people who answer the phone. It's the one who doesn't need you to explain. It's the dog who greets you like you've been gone for a year, even when you've been gone only for 12 minutes. Every time. No irony, no performance, just pure, slightly unhinged joy that you exist and you came back. We should all be so lucky to have one relationship that uncomplicated. Your world is where your feet are. It was always where your feet are. And maybe the only thing left to do is stop waiting to feel ready and just reach out. Not when things are better, not when you have something worth saying, now, while it's inconvenient, while you're a mess. People don't need the polished version of you. They've seen the polished version. It's fine. They usually just want proof you're still there. That's what villagers do, and maybe that's okay.